Hello guys, sorry, I had to stop the chat with Martin for a second because we had issues for connection. I couldn't really, hear him anymore. I'm gonna try to call him back and see if we manage to, keep talking about what we want to talk right now. Unfortunately, sometimes he does a bit of craziness. Okay, let me see if I can get Martin again. Sorry about that. Let's see if it works. Let's see. Hopefully it's gonna go well. If you can accept, man, I can't wait to speak with you again. Unfortunately, I couldn't see you, I couldn't hear you anymore. Let's see. Oh, man. Hopefully it's gonna go well. Let's see. Okay, so I'm here, guys. I'm trying to connect again with Martin from Good Measure called. You can find him as a Cider shit as well on Instagram. And we were chatting about this incredible product that he made recently with Bilton Cider. So it's a blend of naturally sweet keyed cider from season 2018 and 2019 in contact with Pinot Noir grape skins, and is a 5.4% incredible drink. You can see from the color as well. It wouldn't, it will work fantastically as well, even next to an incredible like orange wine or something like that. Is rich, is funky, is complex, is very sweet as well. And I'm trying to have Martin back again on the live so we can start discussing a bit more about the cider world and everything. But wherever you're gonna be able to find this, hey,
what the hell? What is that?
Incredible. I couldn't hear, I couldn't see you.
I've honestly, my phone's been full signal the whole time, so I don't know. Fuck it.
I've got now two signal, not on the internet. The internet is fine. Is the phone? I've got 2 on 4.
Fucking hell, that I was like, what is happening here?
The thing is that we can merge this part and the other part because I became like a kind of wizard on digital things and everything, so we can always put them together. Sorry.
That's right, but it was more like what?
just again, it's mad. And what would I just say to you, Martin, is like we were chatting about as you said, like all the customer experience, and even if I haven't managed to hear it, I'm sure Instagram managed to saving it, having it. So there are few things that I like to talk when we talk about cider, and the first one with you is, can you actually create an ideal in between, like an ideal idea in between craft beer and fine cider? I mean, are these actually going on the same having the same impact within the industry? Is like, do you see these two words being very similar, or we're talking about it?
So it's a good starting point. It's a great point to get people into either or, but like with sort of natural, wild, fine craft cider, the prefix is there really just to kind of amplify the quality. Like you can get a lot of like fine ciders that are really would be lovely as like a 5% pint, and how people drink like that. But in reality, it needs to kind of break away and define itself to actually go forward. Like the best ciders I've had aren't a beer like cider or like a cider like wine. They're like just cider, and the characteristics of the drink are cider. That's it. Oh no, I've got a fly here as well now. They're just the loudest flies in this heat, mate. I tell you. But yeah, I think that with fine cider, craft cider, or whatever, it just needs to be a good product, and people will get to it, kind of thing. Like there's enough people that don't know what like actual cider is, like they have almost no basis for it, that you could give them an Oliver's and just say it's cider, and they then re-establish that as their kind of sort of focal point.
When was it you were working at the central, the Cock Tavern? When was, like, 2016?
I think so. I can't remember now. Like honestly, the dates, it all blurs in, kind of thing.
Oh,
2015,
right.
2015. But that was literally just the right place, right time. I walked into Pressure Drop and asked them for a job, and they said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And then I just needed more jobs. I needed more money, and they went to the Cock Tavern and were like, "Look, give him a job." So then Tim, who's now the head brewer at Howland Hops, gave us a job from it. So it's like, it was just right place, right time. Tim went on to the brewery, so they were like, "Do you want to run it?" And I was stupid enough to say yes. I've not had experience, but
But
let's jump on it.
at that point, you were basically selling already ciders to the customers that were coming in the pub. So my question would be like, is the cider quality at that point very, very, very different from what cider these days, or you see pretty much like similar? Like, it's cider developed since that day, basically.
Yeah, loads, but also the ciders that I was selling there are now getting a better appreciation because they've been understood. Like someone like yourself now can go try those like Borough Hill bibs and like the Oliver's bibs and go and approach it from that. Oh, my lexicon of cider has been improved by drinking these fine cider bottles. Now I can actually enjoy this like 6% acid-led sort of Somerset cider. But it was originally kind of a good economy thing. So Tim, who was buying the ciders, didn't like cider at all. So he would buy what would be like economically viable to buy in and drink, like for the customers. Whereas I was like, no, I really like it. So it's kind of the difference between someone having Camden Pale Ale permanently on tap,
Yeah.
and then rotate each one. Unfortunately, my one is less viable economically. So when you're like, no, I need this. There's a cider, I will say, from it's called Dorothy's Orchard from Once Upon a Tree, and Simon, who makes that, he's a winemaker as well, English winemaker, and that cider is just, it was stunning. They've discontinued it now in bib, but that was like a revelation at the time. And now half the cider market is kind of, that fine cider is kind of like a return to that of like super clean, a little bit of fermentation funk, but really just letting the apples sing. So yeah, I would say that it's changed. The atmosphere around it has changed, and there's some makers like Little Pomona who are like really pushing it at the moment. And I wouldn't have had a Pinot Noir skin like aged cider then. Do you know what I mean? But the whole category, there's a lot of similarity as well as a lot of progression, really.
And then, you know, Tom and Will, when you were at Clapton Craft, basically gave you possibility to explore and to really like manage to have on their shelves some of these incredible products. And again, I'm pretty sure then the journey, I love that.
Aye.
The journey of so many drinkers in London were changed, especially from North London, exactly on that time, where you were able to push, you know, a Rabina style red wine, which I still can't get away with it, because that is in, I mean, I put it in the fridge, man, I drink it the day after. It's insane.
Yeah.
And then
Was that the Litro?
And then
Still good.
yes, the day after, the 1 minute after, you were pushing like a day of Verdant, just being like juice and hops and everything. And then, you know, probably to the very same customer, bang, all of your incredible ciders. And I was just like, this guy's one day is going to go to, you know, some imbibe like event talking about the cider, and he will do it from a point of view which is very, very, you know, familiar to beer and wine drinkers. Here we go, you are. Huh?
Yeah, I did, but it was horrible. It was so nerve-wracking. I hate it. I hate public speaking. I like chatting shit, but constructed sort of presentation is like no. But the key thing with all of those, like that Litro, Daya, and Oliver's ciders and stuff like that, it's just well fermented drinks. It's just really well crafted product. So yeah, it's easy if you're into something to find the good stuff of it. But it's also, I think there's a bit of a maturity in not trying to peddle your sort of want and desire onto something. So say if I love a super funky breaded triple sour fucking anything like that, I shouldn't give it to Gary who's coming for a slab of neck oil. And the same with sort of crossover there. You can sell someone who likes I guess like you were saying yesterday, like a hop cider to a hop head, but you can also sell like a bottle of Fine and Foster to someone who wants a Prosecco, because they have to be in the right frame of mind. And it kind of, same with anything, you do it long enough, you kind of get a clue as to what they want. And someone who loves juicy, hoppy IPAs, if they have got a partner who really likes wine, you might be able to sell them a juicy red that you put in the fridge, because essentially if you want fruit, it's the most amplified version of fruit, really. So it's just kind of recognizing what the customer wants, and being willing to give them, if you give them like 9 out of 10 that are great, they will be willing to give a punt on one when you go, have you tried a cider like this? But like there's so many people, and in bars you see it all the time, where people try to flog a certain thing, and it's like, he doesn't want that, I don't want that, what are you doing? Stop it.
Yeah, like the respect that you have for the customers was that you knew what they were looking for, or you were hearing what they were looking for, and then you were trying to find the right direction for that. And that was brilliant. That was the exactly biggest learn that I could have from someone that were teaching me fermented beverages are fermented beverage. We're just talking about what your mouth looking for, nothing else. There is no price, there is no labels, there is no category that can stop you to find that fermented beverage for you. Probably kombucha will work as well someday, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's as well, it's kind of the price bracket. So like with a small brewery in a major city in the UK setting up their sour barrel project, and that their first barrel project, they're trying to kind of pass on the cost for their business model. So some bottles we were getting that were very expensive, and they were okay. But you looked at something like Oliver's Gold Rush, where it's like wild ferment, then repitch lambic yeast. It spends 2 years in oak. It's like £3 a bottle, and you're like, the artistry in this. If you like funk, honestly, get on it. But if you do it the other way around, where if someone's like, oh, I want a £3.50 500ml bottle of cider, and I'm like, oh, have you tried Jester King? It's like know your audience. Like, no one wants to hear the guy telling jokes in a room where no one's laughing. Like, just give them what they want, and just be mature enough to realize that it shouldn't hurt your ego if they don't like the thing you like.
and like I was with many people in these days about they were asking me like, what's going on in the cider, and I just told them the Full Juice magazine and check it out hashtag rethinks cider. Now,
Yeah.
I saw it like being used from you, and rethinks cider to me works similarly to fine cider. It's a
Yep.
declaration of exploration. It's not a dictation of we're here to change the world. So, what rethink cider means for you in a way?
Well, rethink cider is just a great point of. I get it's just a good marketing thing of approaching a category kind of differently, because everyone's got like a strong opinion of what beer, wine, and cider are, but luckily for beer and wine, they're that good and that readily drank by most people that people are willing to take a punt on it. But with cider, it's always been kind of a kind of, it needs its tailor. It's like wearing the wrong clothes. It's kind of, for a lot of people, it doesn't fit what they think it is. So when they try something like, say, Old Rosie for the first time, that solidifies what cider is for them. And you're like, no, there's a whole world of like a beverage out there. So rethink cider is really like it's basically stop what you're doing, try this. That's what it says to me. And it's a great thing, especially like with tags. If you follow a tag on Instagram or like just engage in Instagram in that kind of mode, just going on the search button and seeing like these tiles of like, especially, I mean, like this drink here, like the color and everything, just seeing those and the bottles, and especially now the labeling, it's like, it's not just, oh, fine cider is different to normal cider. It's saying just close your eyes, imagine you've never seen this, and here's a whole genre with subgenres for you to try, like enjoy kind of thing. So yeah, rethink cider to me is just like start again, see what people like. If they've got their own idea of cider and they want that still, that's always going to be there, but it's also just a experiment and exploration.
Definitely. And I noticed like producers are very happy about it. I haven't seen or I haven't heard about massive, resistance from anyone yet on it. I see, a welcoming attitude from the producers on these hashtags, these mantra, on these, so again, the design is changing, the education is changing, the communication is changing. There are now events, publications, and there are products which are completely insane, guys, and please check it out. There are restaurants stocking it. There are tap rooms, pubs, and bars, and there are groups on Facebook. There is so much around it. What are we still missing in contemporary cider scene, British, worldwide, wherever you want to say, to take this modern twist to the industry, in your opinion?
What would I say? I think we're getting it right now, and that is a whole heap of experimentation. And you know what? Throw a lot at the wall and see what sticks. But what's happening now, and oddly in lockdown, it's like the craziest perfect timing. But the amount of new products coming out, and the amount of new approaches, and on top of that, this kind of lockdown clientele, these whole world of customers really, who can't go to the pub, can't do their normal routine. So they are given kind of a blank slate of like, what are we going to drink at home? And a point of difference is a whole fermented product. And with cider at the moment, you've got like, I'm gonna promote my thing, but you've got Dunleavy and Pilton and my cider of like sort of cross fermentation collab, and Poem. But on top of that, you've got Little Pomona. They're bringing back. There's a thing called, I think it's called Cider Kim, where when you press the apples, you extract the juice, if you leave the apples to soak in water, there's still a lot of character. So it goes for a second pressing. So they've made a cider that's like dry with this second pressing that's 3.5%. And they've done it with quince as well. And it just tastes like lilt. And it's like, what? And for that to be, for a big bottle, it's like £7. It tastes sublime. Whack it in the fridge and take it to the park and socially distance. But what's happening now is people are getting all these things, and when lockdown is done, they're going to be able to go into the places and say, no, 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 I want this. So the demand is what has been missing, really. And it doesn't matter how many times I shout and sing in a room, if I'm not spending £400 a month on it, I need to make 100 from 4 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
quickly as well, I've just seen Corinna say there, where can I buy it? It should be available in Clapton Craft. So contact your local bottle shop. But really, I know you got yours from Hot Bands and Black, didn't you, Gabe? Gabs, rather. Fucking Gabe. But it's Hot Bands and Black. You can get it from Pilton direct. And you can get it from where else? I think Scrattings do it. Two Belly in Bristol, they definitely do it. So there's plenty of places. If you type in very tasty cider from Pilton or In Touch, it should come up. And on my Instagram, there's highlights where it says where to buy with links. So plenty there.
Marty, can I suggest something that I think we miss in cider words, and this is my honest point of view. Probably you cider guys are covered on it. I want to see more meet the producer. I want to see more vertical tastings. I want more, pubs that are capable and educated enough to chat about what they're selling, if they're selling these products. So I'm saying that because I'm scared somehow that the wine marketing, PR, and people would see cider as the next wine. I don't want to see as a next wine or next beer. I want to see cider to smash it because it's a cider and works in restaurants, bars, and pubs. But we need more people to talk to the all part of consumers that maybe haven't been in touch yet with the products.
Yeah, well, the thing is, everyone that's on here and everyone that's watching these and that is interested just needs to ask more. So not to be like, oh, I need this and this and this. Just say to your local bar, like, have you got any? Because that's how it started big time in London, where it was like you almost had no excuse. And the amount of people that we know, like, if you've got one craft beer drinker in a group of 6, if you go to a bar and they go, nah, not this one, it's not got it, all 6 of them go, kind of thing. And you just need cider to have that kind of pull of, it's never going to be a replacement of beer or wine. It's going to be its own thing. But to understand that, people need to try more, get involved, and makers need to do tastings in shops and all this as well. And that will help. But unfortunately, I remember there was one time I had Tom Oliver up in the shop, and it was like last minute, but we pushed it, and there were people coming in like, meh. And I was like, he was like, do you want to try any? And he had like, I think 6 of his most progressive drinks he'd ever made. It was like stunning. And people were like, nah, I'm all right. I don't really drink cider. And I was like, just shut the fuck up. Shut up. Drink this. Drink it. Just shut up. And then you sell bottles on that because people are like, oh, I didn't know it's like this. But you've just got to, unfortunately, if you're a cider maker and you live in the West Country or whatever, it's kind of geographically against city living, really. It's harder to drive up and then not drink when you're at your tasting to then drive back 4 hours to sell an extra case to a bottle shop. Whereas breweries, they can send their sales rep, and no shame because I fucking done it, but they could send their sales rep to a bloody shop on a Friday because they can get the tube back afterwards. And it's like, it's kind of built into the business model because it's a mechanical process and it's recipe led. Whereas with cider, it's kind of like, its charm is its elusiveness, because its elusiveness is driven by its quality. And as soon as you miss that, you miss the charm. Like it's quite cyclical in that. And the same with this in touch. As soon as it's gone, you don't want to keep making it because the beauty is it's finite. And that's the great thing with the art of it. It's like, just make something beautiful and try to get it in as many hands as possible.
Wow. I love it. Yeah, man. I mean, I still remember the couple of, I can't remember if they were Canadians or Americans, and literally left London visiting Clapton Craft for an extra luggage because you were selling them. They all sat shop. It was cool.
Yeah, well, hopefully Tom and Will are watching and they remember that. Don't worry, bud.
Oh, man. I mean,
Don't worry.
we already talked about the modern twist. We already said, and you know, if it figures within these words, you're the prophet. Oi, you're a poet, so you can be a prophet as well. So let me ask, yeah. What is the short mid term for British cider, and wherever short mid term future you see in your head, is it dictated by the quantity of trees, the quantity of the quantity of you know, outlets happy to stock some products out there, or any other, you know, reasons?
Well, I think a lot of smaller bottle shops and bars, bottle shops first because of the nature of lockdown, but when they start kind of leading the charge on it, because it's essentially a cheaper product for the quality of it than, say, a fine wine or like a big old special beer. But you're going to see a lot of them kind of pushing this alternative little category, and then say pockets of that. But realistically, orchards are getting ripped up left, right, and centre because Hackney Beer Wanker, here he fucking is, mate. There he is. If you don't follow him, go follow him. But yeah, with orchards are getting ripped up because the big breweries who bought them at the time, they were big cider makers, but they are now owned by the likes of Heineken and that. They don't need that because they can get Asian dessert fruit for cheaper, and they basically make a glucose wine syrup. Yeah, you're the first to mention it, mate. Don't you worry. But yeah, what's happening with that is that then the land is like you're just missing a whole resource. It's kind of like in the same way that big supermarkets choke dairy, obviously vegan, so it's a different thing. But like they will buy all of a sort of farm's milk, and then next year demand that the price be lower, and it's like, well, the costs have gone up. You can't dictate the whole kind of operation here. It's disgusting. And with cider, you can't have the land be essentially torn up because it's not viable anymore. It's like, to sell those apples to small makers, give them big duty relief, and you'll start to create an industry. Like craft beer was pretty much of the American industry, but also tax breaks given by sort of Labour and being lobbied. So there needs to be a lobbying for cider. That's the thing. You need a lot of people making a lot of fucking noise and getting cider makers breaks so that they can experiment.
Yeah.
So this cider, technically, I think, is a made wine because it has ingredients that aren't on HMRC's registered list of cider ingredients. So the duty goes from being nearly nothing to exponentially more. So it's like, if we can get enough people behind it, and especially on the back of COVID, to passionately sing its praise and give a case that we can reinvigorate the British countryside trade, especially on fucking Brexit as well. Fucking hell. It's all uphill, mate. But the one thing I thought with Brexit, with our relationship to America, there's a whole heap of heritage in America as well of cider.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a lot of like desperate pushing to export. So will you see like a big leap in like, oh no, this is that? But would I trade that for chlorinated chicken? Would I fuck?
Oh, no, please, not that. Well, I'm telling you, man.
I'd be in trade, mate. Fuck you know, you think these arms are gonna lift anything? Jesus, just gonna wax lyrical about cider and complain about everything. That's the life.
Heck on the right, heck on the left, going to the cellar. You're strong enough, man. I'm just. It's an interesting conversation because I never talk about all of different elements as well, like for the industry and everything. So yeah, you see, Guns and Pegs were saying, yeah. Again, man, if there's gonna be a chance to go in somewhere and doesn't matter if it's Captain Craft, Waitrose, cider at the beginning of Tollington Park Road or any other where you can give a better placement to cider and to the entire culture. I'm happy to support. I'm up there. I'm gonna buy the drinks. I'm gonna taste it. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna bring cider to some dinners. Put it on the table. Just be like, yeah, this is wine. It's all wrapped. Taste it, and then we see what is going on. Because this is
it's kind of like a mixed one though, because for me, like I used to do that a lot to be like, just shut the fuck up and drink it. Like, shut up and drink it was pretty much my mantra. But what you get as well with people expecting wine, their preconception is this. So the change of that is a disappointment to them. So I now kind of be like, I'm the opposite, where I'm like, this is cider, but rethink cider. That's why that tag works, because it's like, it's not trying to be something. Good cider is cider, and the merits of it are intrinsically linked to what happens when you press a fucking cider apple and you ferment it. The fermentation amplifies those great characters and it balances it, and it tastes fucking delicious. That's all. That's it. You know, like I wouldn't be like, oh, this is like a Chardonnay anymore. I'd be very much like, try it. This is cider, but this is what cider can be. I heard he has "shut up and drink it" tattooed on his chest. Yeah, oddly as well, it's backwards, so I can see it in the mirror. It's only for me.
Oh man, I can't tell you how much I miss you, and I can't tell you how much I hope to see the evolution of the mustache in the next months.
Yeah, no, as you're up, definitely. Like we'll go on a little tour. We'll have some good booze. There's plenty up here. Like Bristol's so different to London though. Like it's because the beauty of London with the tube stations and everything, you have little hubs around each area. Whereas Bristol doesn't have any fucking sense of road or transport. It's crap. And what happens then is there's like a little bit in each part, but there's nothing that links that. You can't go to like one area that has all the best things. You have to like walk half hour between all the best things.
Wow.
I'm excited to try now. Good on you, Lee. Beer Club for life. Only 23% fruit and veg eating tree is grown in this country, apparently. Yeah, just the sheer environmental side of it. Like having fruit grown here go to waste. The amount of gardens people have apples just rot in, because it's such a commonly planted thing in the old times. You just think it's such a waste.
Yeah.
That you kind of want for everything. Like we demand asparagus out of season, and then wonder why everything costs more. It's like just eat locally, cook seasonally, and get smashed on good cider.
I didn't even know which vegetable are growing in June and in July. I didn't know. peppers is not the season for it, or spinach is not the season for it. And then I was checking because the taste was a bit funny of some of this stuff I bought around London. And then my wife was like, check if it's seasonal, because if it's not, of course it's going to be funny, you know? And
Yeah.
we should probably print it and add it on every single Tesco, Sainsbury, and wait from store, because that will help someone, probably me as well. So, you know,
They've created it, and they've also fruit and veg used to be just fruit and veg. An apple was an apple, but now there's a class. So you have like a grade A, grade B, grade C, grade D. And as a consumer, we now go, an apple should be this much. It should weigh this much. It should look like this. And you're now seeing it where they're trying so hard, and it's like wonky veg is getting sold. It's like, just anything that don't look pretty, just reduce the whole price of it all. We'll buy more, we'll cook more,
yeah.
we'll be buying more locally. I just, honestly, it makes me want to drink enough cider to bash my head against the wall.
So this quote, it luckily is seasonally and gets Martyn good cider. I mean, it is like, boom.
Well, like, yeah, fermentation is it's kind of a preservative sort of technique, isn't it? Yeah. It's like when you ferment, like when you pickle anything, it's to store it, it's to keep, and all of those things are to like preserve what we have in abundance. So well done for us in the West Country and that, to have these readily available. But a lot of it with cider, wine and beer, and for me mainly cider, the actual fermentation of it makes it astoundingly elevated. It's just 10 leagues above what I would drink. I would rather drink 10,000 litres of cider than 2 bottles of apple juice.
I know why. 100%.
Yeah.
Especially
because I've got a little mustache.
I feel like I don't want to risk to waste the beautiful chat that we had, because Instagram has been such a pain in, you know, the back for me, and I feel like we cover most of the thing, and I will recommend everyone who wants to try what Martyn is capable of, his beautiful hands, to select when he goes to someone great cider producer to get this incredible bottle here. You can find details later on. I will review it and make sure that I add my comments, which are going to be definitely very positive, because I fucking love this bottle. And Martyn, what's happening in your life next? What's he on? Anything you want to mention? Just get back to normal life soon, whatever.
No, basically, there's a big thing I've noticed with lockdown, and that was at first it was people posting stuff that was like, if you don't come out of this with like a skill, a job, or anything, then you're the problem. It's your laziness which is holding you back. It's just fucking look after yourself and love yourself. That is first and foremost. Like, mental health, it just something you can't even explain the necessity of having a healthy, sound mind to people, and also just being open and talking to people. But for me, I've just got one of my cats outside that is walking in an absolute madness, mate. I'm not even going to show him. He's just being a bit of a fool. But yeah, for me, it's like, just find makers of things that you like. Literally message them, talk to them, find out what they like, who they know, and just start building a web for yourself of drinks that you love in your repertoire. Like, I used to say I didn't like wine, and unfortunately I was an idiot and I missed out on a whole world of a drink. And now I'll just be like, if something suits my palate, win. Like, that's it. So just throw caution to the wind. When it comes to supporting local everything, just give it a go, and find things you love and hold on to them daily.
Just hot sauce.
Fun?
You still doing some hot sauce, or are you growing?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. So the last batch I made, it's all gone now, but it was a Scotch bonnet, ghost chili, bourbon barrel chips, cumin, paprika, smoked garlic. It was an absolute fiend. Burns both ends, I think the father-in-law would say. Oh, go on then, boy. But yeah, with the cider, with hot sauce, it's a seasonal thing as well. So when the chilies come back in, I'll make a big batch because you just ferment it for 4 months. It tastes lovely, and you pour it on everything. Pour it on breakfast.
guess started to eat some hot sauce more and more and more. I'm telling you, I'm like on fire now. So you know.
But it's one of those bugs that you get bit by. Like if you try it and you click with it, you end up, no, I need that on everything. So my wife, bless her, she bought me a load of different hot sauces around, I think it was Christmas time, but it was like all different habanero hot sauces. And it was like the absolute agony version of someone being like, notes of I was like, notes of pain and agony. But with my hot sauce and everything, it's same as everything. It's like flavor first, like the fire's secondary to it. Like I've made some hot sauces. Like it didn't come in to fuck spiders, but the joy is in how it tastes. Like I've had some sauces where you try them and they're just hot, and it's like when you have beers that are just, when we had that sort of craze in 2017, and everything was so hopped, there was no balance, so it was just veg cans, and it was like, who is this impressing? Like your fucking macho shit is boring, and you've wasted a product. It's like, fucking give me balance, mate. Give me balance.
Yep, I remember. That's why we were drinking pear fire at that point. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, it's still my go-to. That is, like, it's changed so much and it's so different, but it just is nice and fruity. And if you remove all the labels, if you take every label off every can, every bottle, you pour it into a glass. If you Instagram it, and if you look back in half hour and your glass has still got some in it, there's a problem. Whereas when you look and the glass is empty, then you know. And unfortunately, Instagram is about the chase of the clout on it, and I understand why. And it's nice to have essentially a stamp collection that's hoppy. All these like people that want a certain thing, but the elusiveness of beer isn't its greatest strength. The point is that it's a mechanical process. It's a recipe. Make a recipe, tweak it, and make something stunning. I've had more pints on keg of table beer than I've had most unique one-off beers, because I don't want a third that takes me 2 hours to drink. I want a nice drink that I forget that I'm drinking it. Like it's a taste sensation that my glass is empty and I've enjoyed my day.
I totally agree, and yeah, that's why if you see my fridge, that's where we are. I mean, don't need to go too far to find my paradise, my balance. And Martyn, I would love to thank you so much for being such a great friend to speak with about what we like the most. And sorry if I had to cut in between before, but connection is a bit times and everything.
Yeah, dude, it was more. I was like, what have I done? And I looked, and my phone was on full signal, full battery, everything. I was like, what?
I will come to see you in Bristol anytime I can, and I'm checking the train tickets and in a good price, and I know I can spend like more time than just a few hours in the city. So can't wait to see you. Seriously.
Well, dude, yeah. As soon as you're up, give us a message. It's one where I've got a couple of blends lined up with different cider makers. So hopefully, hopefully it turns into a little thing of like a kind of like a little nomad kind of Roma in cider and having different takes. But the beauty of it is having cider makers that are making wonderful stuff. And trust me, anyone, just comment on everything, talk to them.
Yeah.
They so up for any feedback, chat, everything. That engagement is just phenomenal. So just get in touch.
I need to know.
Did you hear?
Yeah. I need to know what to eat with these now. What shall I have? Like,
So it
vegan.
obviously I'm vegan, so it's like I wouldn't recommend cheese, but I can't stop you eating it. No, it's with that sweetness, and there's definitely a bit of acidity there, but with that sweetness, if you had something saltier on the side of cheese, or if you were gonna do it and you were gonna have like pulled pork or like slow roast, and like have that fat, have that sugar, have some like paprika, notes like that, like spice, fat, and pork would go wonderfully with that. Or you could just be me. It pairs wonderfully with a park bench. If you just sit on a park bench.
I got the Arsenal Stadium there. I'm gonna see you in Ivory Field. Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon, and thanks everyone to watch us. I think we managed to say incredible things. Really, I'm telling you,
Dude, legend.
Who next? I mean, how we can stop this?
No, dude, absolute legend, and I'm glad that you've given Cider a little week. A lot of people kind of write it off straight away, and your enthusiasm is just fucking infectious. So, cheers, man.
Thanks you, because you show me the words. That's it, man. You're the one. Look, man, how many people is coming now? We have to close. Bye. See you later. Watch the.
All right.
Bye bye.